Pleased to be joined now by Mark Stone of the Vegas Golden Knights. And we're just, to start the interview, just something we were laughing about off air. You've been in Vegas now for a while. Do you now notice when the temperature turns chilly?
Yeah, right now it's cold walking. Didn't take a ton of winter jackets with me down there, so I just brought the one that I have.
So when you got to Vegas, what is true about Vegas that you heard, and what did you hear about Vegas that you heard was true that is a total and complete lie?
Vegas is more than just a strip. I didn't believe that my whole life, and now living there, it's unreal. Just like a normal city. Pretty much everything else is true about Vegas. There ain't too many myths.
Do you go on the strip? Like, how much do you spend there?
41 games a year, and then every here and there I'll go for dinner. I mean, there's some of the best restaurants there. So other than that, not too much.
See, we all hear the stereotypes about it. Tell us what a boring day in Vegas is for Mark Stone. How boring can it get?
I don't know. Maybe just sitting out in the backyard, enjoying the nice weather. There's really not a ton of boring days.
It's a bit different in Vegas in January than Ottawa in January, I bet.
Yeah, it's a lot different. I haven't experienced January yet, but we'll see. I know the guys are already complaining about it being cold there. It's still 70 degrees.
What a bunch of wimps. It's made them soft.
Yeah, I think it has, yeah. Spoiled.
I want to ask about your team now. What did you think of Vegas, the Golden Knights, before you became a member of that squad?
I was impressed. For 23 guys, management, coaching staff to come together like that and make the Stanley Cup Finals was pretty crazy. So when I went over teams that maybe I'd be willing to go to, it was pretty much the only one I wanted to go to.
Did you ever talk to the guys about how? Like, when you got there, I would imagine one of the conversations would be, how did you guys do that last year?
I don't know. When you're not wanted, you have that hatred, can really bring a team together. And I think that's what brought those guys together.
Have they kept it? I wonder, do you keep it, or when you have the success that they've had so quickly, do you worry about losing it?
I think when we have bad games, I think guys kind of get back to it, kind of get back to that, remember what it was like the first year, I guess. Obviously wasn't part of it, but I can kind of feel that vibe from them.
I remember talking to you on trade deadline day, and we ended up talking a lot about Brady Tkachuk, and you were a real mentor to Brady Tkachuk. And he started to branch off into his own and become his own hockey player, certainly with the Ottawa Senators. But when I say the name Brady Tkachuk, what comes through your mind?
I don't know. I mean, lots of different stuff. He's an awesome kid. Made my life more enjoyable. Still talk to him on a daily. He lives at my house in Ottawa. I don't know. He just became one of my best friends, and I think he'll always be one of my best friends.
How good can this guy get?
The potential's endless for him. Obviously, there's little things that he can get better at, but he's got all all those little tools that'll make him a great player.
I'm watching him and I'm watching Matthew, and Matthew's had quite a week. He had that ridiculous goal against Nashville, and we're doing this on Wednesday, the morning after he scored an overtime winner against Arizona. And I'm beginning to think that as talented as we knew the Tkachuk brothers could be, we still undersold them. They're even better than they got credit for.
Yeah, I think if you watch them play, it's not maybe the prettiest thing to watch. Neither of them are the smoothest skaters, but they get to the right spots. They do all the little things, and they're pains. That's the way you look at it. Everyone gets pissed off to play those guys. They're annoying. Even playing one game against Brady, it was so it's annoying. He tries to jab you everything. He stops at the front of the net, little things like that that make them good, but that's what make them tick.
Talked to Gerard Gallant, your head coach, a couple of weeks ago on radio, and I said, Gerard, which player do we not talk about enough on your team in the media? And right away he said Riley Smith. He said, do you guys want to talk about Riley Smith at all? And it's a crime. We'll talk about some of the bigger names, yourself and Marc-Andre Fleury and Marcia. So he said, Riley Smith is a guy you need to pay more attention to. If I asked you the same question, who should we pay more attention to on your team? What's your answer?
Yeah, Riley Smith for sure. But I think that's the way he likes it. He likes to fly under the radar. But if you watch him play, you watch that whole line play, it's unbelievable the chemistry they have. But he's kind of the one that is always in the right position. He's always backing guys up. He's one of our best penalty killers, one of our best guys in the power play. He's just good at everything.
You mentioned something a minute ago I want to follow up. You said when you were talking about your future with your representatives, you said Vegas was the one place you wanted to go. Was there anywhere else, Mark, where you thought, I may end up here for the time being?
Yeah, I think there was lots of teams that I thought maybe I was going to go to. But when the time come that there was a trade in place with Las Vegas, it was pending talking to my representatives, pending coming to an agreement. Couldn't have been more excited, and I wanted to get that deal done.
You're a rival in Vegas. Take us back to that day. Your thoughts when you step off the plane.
What's that? Sorry.
When you flew to Vegas for the first time and landed.
That was a wild night. I almost missed my flight actually out of Toronto. Ran through the airport. Scrambled my way onto the flight, no bags, but was still able to get there. And then to have that welcome was a bit of an eye-opener.
Did you have any idea? I mean,
No.
it was spectacular. I mean, it's Vegas, so surprise, surprise. But like, that was wonderful.
Yeah, it was awesome. You kind of expect the unexpected, not only in Vegas, but from our organization. So looking back on it, I was in shock. But now that I've played for the team for 6-7 months, doesn't surprise me at all.
I did want to ask you a little bit about some things growing up. What is the story about your neighbor's tailpipe?
Being the younger brother is tough. Was trying to score on my brother, couldn't score on my brother. He kept shooting the ball further and further away from me, and pissed me off enough to rip one right through the neighbor's taillight. And my first reaction was like, "Don't tell dad, don't tell dad." My brother had to tell my dad, so my dad laughs about it now.
But so Michael really grinded you, eh?
Yeah, I blame him.
The other one I heard was the goalie that you guys played against the most when you would just fool around at home was your grandmother. Your grandmother would put on the equipment. Is that true?
Yeah, she'd go in net for us whenever we were over there. My excuse was to put her in net because she was big, but me being the little guy and she was bigger than me, that was the reason we put her in net.
Was she a good goalie? Like, would she compete?
I don't really remember. I think she was too nice to me and my brother, but she'd let us score or else we'd be in tears. So.
And you got your revenge against Michael in the Memorial Cup semifinal, the year you were there in 2010. And he has said that even though they lost, it was still a big moment for him to finish his junior career head-to-head against you. What was that moment like for you?
It was pretty nice for me. I mean, he knocked us out in the playoffs back-to-back years. We were supposed to be this powerhouse team, and then they ended up winning the league. So it was tough for me. But it's weird when you lose, but your brother wins. It's never easy. You're trying to be happy for him, but you're also mad that you lost. So it's kind of a weird feeling, but I think he was pretty happy for me to finally get that win and beat him and eliminate him for the one time.
That was an interesting Memorial Cup as well. And I want to ask you about one very specific play because I didn't think Taylor Hall was going to get up. That hit was the Travis Hamonic hit, first period, Windsor and the Wheat Kings. I didn't think Taylor Hall was getting up. Not only did he get up, but he scored a spectacular goal after. But where were you for that hit?
I think that was my first shift of the game. I'm pretty sure I was back checking on it and just saw it. I could not believe what just happened. And like Gumby or something like that, he just kind of spun over and popped back up. It was
like an accordion going into the boards.
Yeah.
I'm like, there's no way he's getting up.
That was nuts. I mean, I don't even think it would have mattered if he missed that tournament. That team was so good.
They were kind of stacked.
You're still talking Memorial Cup?
I just want to do one quick follow-up on that, and it might be a frivolous question, but who knows what kind of fruit this might bear. So Kyle Murchison is one of the linesmen in that one, and Kyle Murchison was the linesman Vegas, San Jose with Evander Kane, abusive official. So, I mean, he's into the NHL now as well. What type of relationship? I mean, he was a official in the Western Hockey League with you guys, but would you have relationships with officials, not in the same way as you do with players, and graduating to the NHL at all? There'd be any conversations with like, hey man, you made it to the NHL as well. Is there any type of relationship you have between officials and yourself when you're in the NHL that you grew up playing junior hockey and, oh, there's that liney again, oh, this guy again?
There's a couple. I don't really recognize a ton of them. More in the American League is where I notice most of the guys. coming up through there. So I don't know what the form or how you make it to the NHL as a referee. I have no idea how that works. So, but I think more the AHL guys are the guys that I recognize the most.
Right.
Do you talk to referees much? Do you talk to officials? Like, that was hey guys, that was a horrible call. Are you like one of those guys?
I think when I was younger, I used to get frustrated with it, and now kind of trying to build those relationships, knowing that those guys are basically going to have the same career as me.
You know, further to that question, we were in Chicago for media day, and we interviewed Sidney Crosby, and we said, you know, any regrets so far in your career? And he said, the one thing I look back on now is I really wish I hadn't treated officials the way that I did early on, just going at them and just being relentless. And he said, I've spent a lot of time apologizing ever since. You were never someone, though, that really went at officials?
I mean, I have for sure. I think when I was in Ottawa, I definitely did a lot more than I have since I've moved on to Vegas. But I don't know. Yeah, they make mistakes. We make mistakes. It's just the way it is.
100%. You know, Jeff asked you before about the big hit on Taylor Hall. I worked the game in Winnipeg where you got hit by Byfuglien, and that was one of the loudest sounds I've ever heard. And I have to tell you, Mark, one of the most impressive things that I've ever seen from you is you came back and you played a shift in that game. Now, you ended up sitting out the rest, but when I saw you on the ice, I was like, this is one tough SOB, because I could not believe you came back that night.
Yeah. I mean, he hit me as clean as it could be, so it didn't really never touched my head, never had any issues with my head, which is kind of one of the things you appreciate about his hitting. You know, he's never dirty. So I got up, went out there and missed the rest of the game with general soreness.
Like,
Kind of a weird one.
Was it was it as, I assume that's as hard as you've ever been hit.
It's not even close. Yeah.
Unbelievable. And like, did anyone ever say anything to you about it, or like your teammates or anything like that?
Yeah. I mean, we laugh about it now.
Wow.
I mean, you see it on the biggest hits every time they show them, you know, you see it. So we can laugh about it.
You must be really disappointed that he's not playing this year.
Yeah, no, not at all.
I want to ask you about the Selke Trophy. I've been on this, and Elliotte's rolling his eyes already. I can hear.
Well, this one is true. Like, a lot of your crusades are ridiculous. This one's legit.
But let's see if I have a suspicion here that you might pick up what I'm putting down here. Yuri Letton is last winger to win the Selke Trophy. And I think that along the way in Marian Hossa's career as a winger, he should have won the Selke Trophy as well. I feel the same way about you, that there should be a Selke Trophy already in your hip pocket. I'm sure there is one on the horizon. Do you ever think about that? Like, hey, how about a winger winning this thing here once in a while? There's nothing in the definition that says a winger can't win that trophy.
Yeah, I mean, I think people just believe that centers impact the game more than a winger does, and I do believe that. But at the same time, a winger can be just as impactful as a centerman. So it's tough to say anything because the guys who are winning it are,
oh no, they're all world.
Taves, Patrice Bergeron. It's like, how do you argue? You know what I mean? O'Reilly last year. It's so hard to argue. So it's just a tough award to win.
Curious to hear you make the case for it, and like,
I mean, would you even make the case for it? Would you ever say, I deserve to win for this reason? It doesn't strike me as your kind of personality.
I mean, obviously going to the awards last year, I wanted to win, but when I looked at who I was sitting next to, it's definitely wasn't expecting to win.
I threw out Marian Hossa's name out there, and I was just a huge Hossa fan. When you look at the way that you play, is there anyone that you think in your mind, yeah, I kind of play like this guy?
I don't think so, really. I try to take a little bit of everybody's game, That's why I watch so much hockey. Can kind of, like I've said in the past, I don't really like learning from myself. I like learning from others.
One of the plays you made is one of my favorite of yours is you're still in Ottawa. You're playing against Toronto Saturday night. They just score. And right off the next draw, who is it that you knocked the puck off of and went in alone?
I think it was Zaitsev.
Okay, so like I'm watching that play, and you read it the moment off the draw.
Yeah, I was paying attention to them. I knew that they were talking about it before. I kind of figured they were going to try that.
Really? So you saw it and you said this is, and you jumped it.
Yeah, I was just sitting on it. Yeah.
So I wonder, like, is that and I'm asking you to talk about you, which I know is not your favorite subject, but is that learned, or did somebody teach you, Mark, look for this?
I don't know. I think just a lot of guys, you can kind of see them huddling together to look at plays, and for center ice plays, there's really only one or two. So you just kind of have to guess. And like D-zone, O-zone face-offs, you kind of like see guys planning a play, and it's kind of hard to see it. But at center ice, you kind of know exactly what they're going to do when they're trying to scheme something up.
Did anyone say anything to you after you did that, like in terms of that was incredible? Because I remember watching that and saying, like, it was as if you were standing in the huddle with them and knew exactly
Pretty much
what they
was,
were going
probably.
to do.
Yeah, no, it was a big goal, I remember.
It was
a fun
goal.
game.
Yeah, for the longest time in the Western Conference, the game that everybody in the East had to stay up to watch was Anaheim, Los Angeles. Those games were intense. They took a long time. There were a lot of penalties to sort out, and it was flat out fun. The games now that everybody in the East needs to stay up for are the Vegas Golden Knights and the San Jose Sharks. Personally, I think that's the best rivalry, most intense rivalry in the NHL. What are those games like from your point of view?
I mean, they're awesome. We get up for them. It kind of brings that hatred back for our team. I mean, that loss last year stung everybody. It's kind of led into this year. And those kind of things, those kind of experiences kind of make you stronger and make you want to win even more.
Who do you hate the most on their team?
Erik Karlsson.
It is Karlsson, eh? No question. I knew that had to be the answer.
I just want to beat him. It's never fun losing to your buddies.
I got to get your thoughts on Ryan Reeves. One of the most colorful personalities in the game, was just on After Hours this past weekend and delivered every time. Him and Scott Oak together are must-watch TV. What's he like as a teammate for you? And what do you think of the Lowry fight on Saturday?
Not surprised. I mean, he's on our team.
Him taking the draw route. Let's back up to there.
Yeah, he almost won it. I guess Lowry made some good comments about that actually in the video, but yeah, he is what he is. He's always happy. He's always ready to joke around with the guys, but he's intense. He provides something that not very many guys in this league can provide, and kind of makes everybody else a little bit at ease heading out on the ice.
Last year, during one of the games, I think it was last year, maybe it was a couple of years ago, Hockey Night in Canada rolled a pack of your expressions. Like, you sit here with us, you're a quiet, calm guy, and then in-game Mark Stone happens, and you are fierce. And there's a lot of, when you celebrate or the team does something well, it's like you're a completely different person. Have you ever watched video of yourself during games?
Yeah, my girlfriend will show me every here and there some of the things on going through Twitter, Instagram, but it's kind of embarrassing, some of the faces. But I don't know. It's just so fun playing this game. It's so fun winning. It's so fun being out there. Being on the bench is almost as fun as being on the ice, sometimes when your team scores. And I've just enjoyed doing it with the team that I'm on now. Enjoyed playing for Ottawa. Trying to win in Ottawa, and now it's the same in Vegas. It's just all about trying to find ways to win.
It's good to hear that you and I have something in common, that your girlfriend is like my wife. Like, what an idiot you look like in this particular photo.
I think they get some satisfaction out of it.
The other thing I heard about you too, Mark, is just that you are really hard on yourself. Like, I've heard teammates say about you that you'll make an unbelievable strip or play to get a puck, and if you miss a teammate's sweet spot by like a centimeter, you'll go bananas about missing that pass. And I think that that's what's gotten you to where you are, because you are really, really tough on yourself.
Yeah, I mean, yes and no. I don't like making mistakes on the simple things. Things that I know I can make, or plays I know I can make, or things that I do poorly that I know I can take out of my game. Those types of things really irk me. But I think that I've learned that from the best players. You watch Crosby, McDavid, all these top guys. They're the same way, and maybe to a more extreme. they don't like making mistakes, and they really like to really like to win, and they want to help their team win.
The other thing I've heard about you is that you are not afraid to be told the truth, and that you prefer the truth even if it's hard. Is that true?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's kind of the way it has to be. I think that should be for everybody. I don't really like when coaches go after certain guys because it's easy, and that's what I appreciate most about our team. We got 23 guys who want to be told when they do something good, and they want to be told when they do something bad.
So we're sitting in the studio here doing this interview with you, Mark, and this is the Ice Surfing Studio, which is a show we do Tuesday nights on Twitter. And we were on last night, and we were talking about an ESPN poll about NHL player burner accounts. And the number was 34% of NHL players have burner accounts. And that seemed really low to me. Does that number seem low to you?
Not really. I don't have one, so.
Well, you have your own, right?
I have my own everything, yeah.
I mean, there are some players like, listen, I want to know what's going on, but I don't want everyone to know that I'm following this bunch of people to find out. Yeah,
I don't know. It doesn't bother. Maybe a little low, I guess, but I don't know.
Do you read your mentions?
Sometimes, yeah.
Have you ever gotten angry at what anyone said to you?
Yeah. I've never. I mean, last year at the trade deadline was tough. Getting different mentions from different people from different places. It wasn't easy, but that one was kind of turned off.
Do you block or mute?
Yeah.
What's your go-to?
Block.
Both?
Yeah, block.
Block.
Yeah.
You want people to know that they've been rejected.
Yeah. I don't want to get another comment from anyone else, so I just hit the block button. It's easy.
You know, it's interesting you mention that because, like, in this business, the job that we do, there's people understand that, you know, that around that time of year, it's craziness. But I got a call about you last year, and someone said to me, you know, you got to be careful with Mark Stone because, you know, last year there was a report that you didn't like, and you came right out and said that is BS. And you've always taken pride in I speak for myself and nobody else speaks for me. And I thought that was really interesting. Somebody actually called me and told me that, like, Mark will get upset if he doesn't like what is said about him. Some guys will wash it off, but it's important to you.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty reserved. I think as you guys knew through that whole process, I don't say much. I like everything to be done internally between me, myself, my representatives, and the team that I'm dealing with. So when things go, when somebody makes a comment about me that isn't true, I like to address it.
Was it tough to play during that time? Trade deadline's on the horizon. Everyone's following Stone. What's happening? Every whisper, every tweet. Was it tough to play through that?
I think there was like 1 or 2 games where it wasn't easy. Then kind of just told myself, can't change anything. You're playing for the Ottawa Senators right now. I was proud to play for the Ottawa Senators, so I just continued to play and have fun.
Just last one for me that I have, Mark, is that, look, every player's goal is obviously to win the Stanley Cup, and you guys are going to have a great chance at it for years to come. But, you know, you strike me as a guy who's got a lot of different things that he wants to accomplish besides winning the Cup. What other things in your life do you say, this is what I want to do by the time I'm done?
I don't know. I think right now, after going through last season, not knowing what was going to happen, not knowing where I was going to be, you know, being out in the public wasn't something that I really wanted to do. And now that I know I'm going to be in Las Vegas for 8 seasons, you know, you want to be a good ambassador. You want to be a part of that community and really help build the hockey brand, the charity side, and you know, develop our hockey programs. And I think a lot of the guys who have kids in hockey right now are trying to do the same. We love living there. We love playing there, and we want to help build that city to a hockey hotbed.
I want to close with a quick question about your fans. I mean, you're a Manitoba guy, played with the Brandon Wheat Kings, Ottawa Senators in the NHL, Hockey Mad Canada, right? Mm-hmm. Tell us about the Vegas fans.
They're wild. I think if you talk to a lot of them, they just wanted a team so bad. They were almost begging for one for years. And I think at some of the season ticket holders events, a lot of the people are like, yeah, we signed up, see what it was all about. And now it's like, we're going to all 41 games. Like, we're not giving our tickets away. This is the best show in Vegas. We love it. And it helps us. I mean, it's so much fun playing at that rink. It's the best in the league for a reason. Those 41 games are so much more fun than the 41 on the road.
Do you ever? I mean, listen, everyone's got Golden Knights jerseys and T-shirts. I mean, and you can see it on television. But do you ever see the odd Vegas Thunder jersey, like an old Radek Bonk jersey from the old IHL team at all? Never. Everyone's just diehard Knights fans.
You're the only
it.
one that's got those.
I would too.
I mean, they brought up a lot of the McKenna stuff this year. Yeah, like Mike McKenna, now that he's working with us, they had a few of his Las Vegas Wrangler, stuff when you do the TV stuff. It's pretty funny.
That's awesome. It's been a delight catching up. Good luck the rest of the way. Good luck with the Selke this year.
Thanks.